Ryan's point of view. Good morning. I greeted one of the ladies behind the receptionist desk. Good morning. How may I help you today? I'm Kim Ryan. I interviewed for a job about a month ago and received the email that I could start work today 2 weeks ago. Oh, I see. What department, please? She asked. The sales department. I got the job and I even made a friend named Johan here on my first day. I just heard something. What? I think the company is going to be sold or has been sold. I didn't hear much at all, but from what I did hear, seems the company had loans we didn't know of, and enough the company is being sold before the bank gets it. Did you hear to whom? We have mentioned his name before. Last month, I think. That handsome young billionaire, owner of a rising tech company, that one who entered Forbes list. What was his name again? Jungkook? Jungkook? Yes, it's Jungkook. He's the one I said started young and was lucky to get so rich young too. He made his first billion at like 23 or 26. I remained silent. It couldn't be the Jungkook I was thinking about. No way. My apartment was on the second floor of the 5-story building. I have been waiting for you, girl. My key dropped at the institution. I faced my landlord. Jiggy, good evening. I smiled at him tightly. Hope you ain't gonna delay your rent for next month again. He eyed me. I promised to pay on time. Good night, Jiggy. I quickly picked my keys and unlocked the door and entered. It was embarrassing, but it was the truth. I had barely been able to pay rent for my shabby apartment this month. I hadn't. My parents had stepped in to settle the bills. This job just have to give. Tiredly, I changed from my work clothes to pajamas and went straight to bed. That night, I dreamt about the past, the good and the bad. Ryan, you need to be in the boardroom right now. I walked into the boardroom and saw Mary. Ah, Ryan, you're finally here, Mary smiled. I'm not sure if you two have met since I didn't have the opportunity to do a general introduction, but this is Heather Jack, and she's also new to the department. Nice to meet you, Heather. I smiled at her, which she reciprocated. I have news for you too, but it seems the new CEO is already here. She stood up. Good morning, Mr. John. Heather stood up as well and I followed, not fully pretended to face the man I have hated for the longest time. The laptop and TV screens hadn't exaggerated his appearance. He had always been good looking, but he looked even better now. He must have been visiting the gym regularly over the years too, I noticed. His eyes were unguarded for a few seconds and I saw the confusion and shock on his face. Yes, fate toyed with us both. Good morning. His voice was still as deep and smooth. Is this about the revaluation? No, sir. These are the new employees from my department, Miss Kim Ryan and Miss Heather Jack. I, along with HR yesterday, decided they can temporarily work with you as the PAs you required per se. Is that okay with you, sir? She asked and he nodded. Is it okay with you too? Mary turned to us. It is, I guess, Heather said, and without much of a choice, I nodded. Is it all good and settled then? We can discuss the rest of the details later. Mary stood up. I'll leave now. Goodbye, sir. I need to use the restroom. Heather smiled apologetically. Of course, and thank you, Mary. His deep voice sounded again. In a bit of a haze, I watched as both ladies walked out of the room. Staring back at him, he was still gazing down at the files. Says here most of your working experience was in Busan. Why did you move back to Seoul? His dark eyes assessed me and I cleared my throat. Is this a second interview? Maybe. He shrugged and leaned back. I hated him. I hated this. This is ridiculous, I muttered. It is, isn't it? This job, this moment, everything. There's no need to waste time. I'll let Mary know of your real disposition. He nodded and stood up. Wait, what? I need this. I didn't. I quickly stood up as well as then sighed. Due to some unforeseen personal reasons, I had to move back here. Or must I share? No. Thank you, sir. I smiled tightly. I am back. Heather walked back into the room smiling. I should just quit, walk out, and hunt for another job for the next few months and have Jiggy kick me out onto the streets. I silently picked the files on the table and walked behind him. I don't like the furniture. Miss Ryan, work on getting them completely changed. You can have the extra tables outside removed as well. Miss Ryan, is there a problem? He slowly turned to face me where I still stood. Yes, I don't know a single thing about interior design or decorating, I protested. One dark brow lifted in amusement before his features cooled and his face went blank. You are my PA enough. Your job is to assist me, but if you can't do that, you may as well leave now. He seemed hopeful that I would leave. I wish I could too. Of course, you would want me to leave, I laughed without passion. Ryan, how soon should I have the furniture changed then? My smile was shallow. Friday, he stood straighter. That's in 2 days. Well, you should probably get to work then. In my 23 years of living, I had only dated one man. He taught me love and heartbreak, both of which I was unprepared for. In my feelings, I imagined we would meet again, but never like this. Not with me at my lowest and he at his highest. It just wasn't fair. I deserved a little compensation. My personal driver will take you. That's his number, and here is my debit card for the purchase for everything. He handed me 2 cards which I collected. Pin? I asked. My birthday. I don't know that, I said, and he looked at me. He suddenly asked almost genuinely, How have you been? His eyes softened. The pin, I asked again. I told you it's my birth date, but I don't know it. Your second assignment then, find out or remember my birth date. Is it even safe for a billionaire to have his debit card pin as his birthday? Oh, and Miss Ryan, if my office isn't transformed before noon on Friday, you're fired. He smiled unapologetically. I muttered under my breath again on my way out. This is going to be a long day. This just arrived from Italy yesterday. It's a whole set. I spared the large table, chairs, couches, shelves, and other accessories a minute glance. Looks good enough for his ego. I'll take it. Great. I'll need your card and then you fill a few forms and get your receipt, and we can have it delivered to your place of work tomorrow evening at the latest and have everything arranged and installed Friday morning. Okay, here's the card. I punched in what I believed to be his PIN, but the machine showed it was incorrect. I tried the PIN again in another format, but it remained incorrect. I smiled at the manager, who now stared at me suspiciously. I forget sometimes, I smiled nervously. My mind consciously thought about the cards he gave me. I quickly brought the second one out of my bag. On it were handwritten numbers which I immediately punched in. The payment went through and I sighed in relief. But in my heart, I swore and cursed the man that was now my boss. I was fuming. My feet moved fast. Soon his door opposed me. I barely noticed the seated Heather, who said a few words in a rushed tone. Without care, I barged into his office. Funny, your pin almost didn't, I started, but stopped on seeing he had a gust. Miss Ryan, is there a problem? He glared at me. I just wanted to return your card. I walked forward and dropped the card. My eyes did not meet his, but my body felt the heat of his gaze. Nothing else was said as I left the office. I was trying to say he has a gust, Heather said. I should have probably knocked. I smiled a little sheepishly. How was your furniture shopping? Tiring. I sat down opposite her. Just as I sat, the office doors to Jungkook's office opened and he stepped out. Miss Ryan, my office now. The door shut with a loud thud. Heather stared at me sympathetically. Entering his office, he was back behind the large desk. He looked unhappy. Good. You can enter. I don't remember knocking. Exactly. You didn't knock. Also, you barged into my office uninvited. You want an apology? You want to get fired? No, sir, but you made a fool out of me. That should be against all work protocols. I look stupid and suspicious in putting the wrong pin. You must be stupid to believe my birth date as the password to a card built to an account holding billions of dollars. I held my tongue back and only glared at him. Do you have anything else to say, Miss Ryan? He asked, and I reluctantly shook my head. Good, you can leave. Okay. I slammed the door on my way out and leaned against it for a few seconds. I hope you are not in trouble. I saw Heather standing not too far from me. No, not really. I'm just a bit tired. Is today really just the first day working for him? Feels like it's been years. I know, right? Heather laughed. Thankfully, the rest of the day had me seated and busy till 7:30 when I clocked out. Lady, how's that rent coming along? My head hit the door and I groaned. The man was definitely more stealthy than he looked. It's not yet time to pay, Jiggy, but thank you for your concern again. Smart mouth, April is almost here. You better have the rent. He pointed his stubby finger at me, then staggered along. I shut the door. 4 years ago, on my way to my faculty building, I didn't expect to get nearly toppled over or have a hot cup of coffee spilled all over me. Oh no! I cursed, trying to regain my balance. I'm sorry, the guy who nearly tripped me and bathed me with his coffee held out his 2 arms to stop me from falling. Great, you got coffee all over my shirt and books. I'm so sorry, can I get you paper towels or something? He asked, and I looked up at him. He seemed in a bit of amusement, and I wasn't entirely sure if this was really a mistake. I glared at him and he apologized again. Whatever, it's fine. New York seems to be drilling me left, right and center. I sighed. First year? First time in New York? He asked and I nodded. Then it's nice to meet you. I'm Jungkook. Cook for short. He smiled. I'm Ryan. Present. I'm done. 5 minutes to 12 noon. Friday had come but the furniture hadn't. The office was clear of its former furniture and I waited the new ones, but my chosen furniture shop decided to screw me over with a flat tire and delayed goods. My phone rang and I quickly answered it. Are you already here? I apologize for the inconvenience, miss. We will be there in 20 minutes. Would I even still have this job in 20 minutes? He definitely couldn't fire me over this, could he? About 10 minutes passed before I heard his footsteps. Good morning, I smiled brightly with effort. It's noon already. He walked past me. My office is ready, I believe. Well, I stammered and he turned back to open the doors. He walked in and I followed closely behind. I love what you have done with the place, he commented dryly. The view is a lot better, right? Saul has really never looked better. I joked, but my humor wasn't graciously received as one of his dark brows went up. Where is my furniture? On its way. And what was our agreement? For the furniture to be ready before noon today, but the truck bringing the furniture had a flat tire and their cargo ship was delayed yesterday. If you can't complete a task as simple as this, I doubt you can continue as my PA. You? That was harsh, bro. I turned around to see who just saved me from losing my tongue and really losing my job. I stared at the tall, handsome man who was looking at me with so much curiosity. Excuse him, please. He's been busy all week. He's usually very nice, I promise. The man grinned at me. I'm Kim Taehyun, your boss's VP and best friend. I'm Ryan and my phone rang and I quickly answered the call. And your furniture is here. But he still looked unimpressed. This conversation is not over, he warned before I left the office. Maybe shift that a little to the left. The mover moved the painting the furniture shop sent and I nodded in satisfaction. Great, I think it's perfect, thank you guys. The rest of the movers nodded and quickly left the office. At 3 p.m. she finally had my office ready. Better late than never, I smiled at Jungkook, who just entered the newly furnished office. Don't play smart with me. You and I still have some issues to go over. He walked past me and unbuttoned his suit jacket as he sat down. You can come closer. He gestured and I reluctantly did so. You aren't actually going to fire me, are you? I'm not firing you, he said. Not yet at least. Not yet, I scoffed. You get 3 strikes. If you lose them all, you're fired. 3 strikes, I laughed. I'm not joking. Why don't you just fire me then? You are clearly looking for reasons to fire me. You're the boss. Why not just get it over with? I asked angrily. That would be just unjust. And this is just giving me 3 strikes like I'm a child? You don't like it? Then quit. I'm not going to quit. Not yet. And once again, I'm sorry for the delayed furniture, sir. It won't happen again. I bit out, thoroughly annoyed. He smiled. You can leave now. I do need a drink, I thought to myself while laying on my bed later that night. A toast for myself for surviving my first week of working for Jungkook. For more videos, please subscribe this channel. Have a great day, dear ones. Bye.